power of the mighties and truly fulfilling Jesus's promises, when we come together, it's going to be the speed up. That's the commitment to loving ourselves, is joining with our brother and stepping past the idea of a personal identity. The train to supreme happiness. And he's reminding me, in order to ride the train, you have to step on it with him. And this will mean that you'll need to step through some things that you might not otherwise be willing to do. The I won't take risks. See, what it considers risk, because what the risk is the risk to be shown that it's not true. And so, it's so let's start with the infinite light of being. The only thing that is true, the only thing that's true is the light of divine being and honesty of God. Is that the only thing that's true? You can ask Jesus. Can the light be threatened in any way? Infinite light. We can threaten it, throw paper at it, scream at it. Is it still the light? Infinite, unchanging light. Nothing real can be threatened. Is the light threatenable? Does the light know anything other than light? Infinite, unchanging light. Nothing unreal exists. Does anything other than light exist? In our direct experience as light beings and honesty of God. So anything other than perfect peace, infinite light, is choosing against ourselves. Trying to choose against ourselves, being one with God. Yet in the light of divine being and honesty of God, is it possible to choose against ourselves? If we see the lights here, is the light choosing anything? Choiceless awareness. See that the light doesn't choose. There are really no words for light. Yet Jesus says, see that they're the same. Awareness without choice. It has no choices in there. That's choiceless awareness. Then a little tiny mad idea comes. It's a train going to the wrong station, and we jump on that. The hashtag I=hellride. See, it's going in a different direction. So we want to stay on the train with Jesus. He says there's no other ride worth taking. Okay. So he's teaching us how we're choosing to jump onto the wrong train because consciousness finds pleasure in the play. Jesus, is there pleasure in this play of consciousness? That's part of the addiction, the liking of it, the wanting. Ooh, it's mistaking pleasure for love, actually. It has to be that confused. And so when we see something we don't like, we just say, I don't like that. But what we're really saying in Jesus language is, I want that experience. And then try to avoid it to see that it's not real. And And so Joker's coming to mind. I go, Jesus, you're referring to Joker? He goes, yes. So we don't want to see what we've denied. So when fear comes up, it's an avoidance of what's denied, that the light is undeniable. When you really look, we can pretend like we don't know what it is. That's the play of consciousness. Ask Jesus, is the play of consciousness avoids just saying, yes, I'm light. And hear him tell you, yes, exactly. He's just here to say, you are this and nothing else. So the Joker assignment, well, it's just a suggestion, because the spirit just suggests. Because the ego's plan is to make everything mission impossible, the impossible mission. Ask Jesus, Jesus, is the play of consciousness the desire for an experience where it feels impossible for me to wake up and see I'm light? And hear the answer. Jesus, do I not want to know that I'm already light? That's very humbling when he says, yep. But see that he's not in there giving you, wagging the finger, there's just look in there and make sure whether Jesus wags the finger. No, he's just going, come with me. I'm asking about this. Ramana Maharshi would tell a story and give an example of a cow that keeps leaving the barn to go out and eat grass. That just seemed like a great thing out there when there's all this really sweet hay in the barn. And he said, if you keep leading the cow back gently into the barn, then eventually it'll stay in the barn where the good food is. And that's all Jesus is doing. He's leading you back to see that you're going out to try to eat chaff out there. I will burn the chaff and leave only the good wheat meaning the light. So the light will burn all the chaff, the untrue, and leave only the good wheat. So he leads us back to the barn. Come over here. You're out in the hayfield. Come over here. That's all Jesus's function is. And showing the choice to go out and meander into the field. So he's showing us that mind wandering. Jesus, you can ask him, Jesus, is that mind wandering getting lost in the chaff? Jesus, do I have a desire to play like I'm lost in chaff? The chaff being whatever, when you cut down the hay, you got a lot of extras in there. Grass and weeds, and that's the chaff. Jesus, am I trying to bring a bunch of weeds in where they don't exist? And ask him. So we're dancing in the weeds. He's going, come over here. Look, there's a sunny day. It's a nice, beautiful day. It's the perfect expression in consciousness is that movie Emissary, not movie, but the Star Trek episode Emissary, Deep Space Nine. I've mentioned before, Cisco and his other lead character get off the shuttlecraft on this land, and she's looking around. This is a garden. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And he's going, oh my God. And he sees just a black planet. with, electrical storms everywhere. What a great depiction of the state of mind. Jesus is going, this is a garden. We're going, boy, this is a big black thundercloud. I'm in hell because we're walking around with the hell cloud. That's why you start laughing when he's telling you you're wrong, because he's right. And then every moment, we were talking about that, like the eyes open and I'm going, okay, Jesus, what do I need to see now? Like immediate, you get trained in the middle of the night, because that's the play in consciousness. The nighttime woe, wake up after a dream and you feel like glued to the bed. See, but we're going to have 24/7 joining, so no excuse not to hit that button. If we can get as many mighties as we can, so that there's always someone, because it's a perfect opportunity. Of course, you can always join with Jesus. Show me. Lesson 307. These are going to sing in you because they are you. They're us. Conflicting wishes cannot be my will. My will being the same as the Father's will. So that's where he's showing us every conflicting wish below our level of awareness, the conflict. Jesus, is there a conflicting wish below my level of awareness? A single one? Is there any? Will you help me see they're untrue and hear that answer? Of course, that's his function in the atonement. To reveal, to take over time and space. When we ask him, will you take over time and space for me? Ask him. He says, you don't want me to take over time. Everything but that. Because you want time and space. See, that's the wish. The wish is for time and space. So ask him, Jesus, do I have a desire for time and space below my level of awareness? Okay, just a minute. All right. Will you show me that wanting of time and space, that conflicting wish? So I can just stand into it, let it just rise up. That's burning the chaff. So you just let that wish rise up, hand it over. Oh, you're right, Jesus. Wow. And not only that, he's telling us, you get pleasure out of that chaff. Ask him. Jesus, do I get pleasure out of the chaff? And you're going to hear, yes. Ask him. That's why. And he's going to start showing you where you just, want that chaff so bad. But instead of diverting to go sideways into the play of all the chaff and hang out in the weeds, he's teaching us how the light will burn it as it rises before it can go like this, before we descend into hell. Staying with the desire, the wanting with him. Instead of playing in the fear, it's like, and go with him till he shows you, you're right, Jesus, boy, is there pleasure in that? It's like, and the ego goes, well, how can that be? I can't possibly want this. That's why we have to ask Jesus. Jesus, are there conflicting wishes below my level of awareness? Just laughing. Yes. Okay, show them. See, that's how clean it is. It's like that. Oh, so much love comes with willingness to look. you could be dancing in heaven every day because you're communicating with what's true. So let's ask this question. Jesus, are the desires below my level of awareness against my will? My will being the will of the Father, in the light of divine being and honesty of God, is our will the same as the Father? In the light, see the light, is because the light is one. He says, this is your only function, to look with me at the desire, the wishes below your awareness that are against your own will. That's why we have to laugh when he shows us. Whenever we are upset, you're actually against your own will. That's why it hurts. But it's pretending like God's doing it to you, your brother, and I'm including myself, there's no words for it. Consciousness is playing a game of pretending the world is happening against its will, when the play is to pretend like it's happening, like something is happening when nothing's happening. Ask the light, is anything happening? So the play is to have a me that something's happening to against my will. So the Joker movie is an opportunity that Jesus is offering for you to see divine power, to see the play in consciousness, to play death game, death roulette, to make it seem like, where did that come from? This explosive desire to all of a sudden reach over and put a knife in someone, or however that plays in consciousness. But to stand into it with him, like we always contract, oh, that looks scary. No, our desire is for the scariness and pretend like we didn't create it. Jesus is saying, this is a good one to step into with me. Step into directly seeing where there's, like we were joining on it, and Renee said so beautifully, you could see the pleasure in it. Show me where there's pleasure. Okay, I'm willing to see it in all this. And then it's transformed. It becomes transformed. You go mystical. You are mystical. But it's because mystical's always here. There isn't anything other than mystical. Nothing unreal exists. It's the play of saying N-O to mystical, no to mystical. The know that union's here. Then you can just ask Jesus, is the Joker a good movie to go to where I can see where I'm denying that I'm already mystical? And the ego, no, because it doesn't want to see the miscreation in that. And to see if you can see that movie as the Christ, the innocence, to see that nothing ever happens to anyone. That's the gift of freedom to ourselves, to see that no one's doing anything, to see where that desire is, to have an experience that someone's doing something to something, the somethingness. Does the light know somethingness? This is to see what true life is, that your life. To see that we're beyond this play in consciousness of other. Father, your will is mine and only that. Oh, that's beautiful. Just ask Jesus, Jesus, is the Father's will my will? Is the Father's will for perfect, supreme happiness my will? That's all he wants to tell you. There is no other will for me to have. Jesus, and the light of divine being, is there any other will for me to have? And hear the answer. Let me not try to make another will, for it is senseless and will cause me pain. Ask Jesus, is pain the will to deny myself light? Is fear the will to deny myself light? The experience of recognition, really. Because you can't actually deny light. You can only pretend like it's not here through a dream. So we ask him again. That's why this movie will wake you up, because you'll see the stories in it, how different perspectives of consciousness. The play is to have different stories and then argue over which story is correct, when no stories are correct. In honesty of God, the light of infinite being, is a single story exist? Jesus, as long as I believe stories are true, will I suffer? And will I feel pain? And just hear him tell you. The consciousness does not want to give up the story. That's why, we starting to review at night, chapter 12 in A New Covenant. Maybe that'll be one of the first ones we can translate, to drop the storyline. Just go for a week. He gave that assignment when we were going through it, that story, and said, just drop telling a story for a week. No stories about anything. And just see. Can the ego exist without a story? You can ask Jesus, can the ego exist without a story? The belief in a story? A parable? But yet Jesus used parables to unwind. So you can see how the Spirit uses these parables like movies to reveal the true. The most powerful, potent one is the prodigal son. My favorite. It was always my favorite. I didn't know why. Because I wanted to play like it didn't know why. That's why he's giving this contrast in the light circles. Infinite light, just here. We can all see it. And if you're not sure you're seeing it, just talk to Jesus. Jesus, what desires do I have not to see that I'm infinite light? Where's the play in consciousness? To see that there's a light here that's unlimited. And then he leads you step by step to look at the desires, not to see that we're light. The sameness of all things. Let me try not to make another will, for it is senseless and will cause me pain. So let's just ask him, Jesus, is there a desire below my level of awareness to make a will apart from God's? Jesus, do I have a desire below my level of awareness for the experience of pain? And he'll say, if pain is appearing, it can only be so through your desire to dream that. The desire to keep some sense of personal identity, some little piece. But see, you're innocent in it and just join with a brother to look. Let and talk to Jesus about it so he can help you clear the chaff. That's what a miracle is, chaff clearing. See that the light doesn't need miracles because the light just is. The light doesn't experience pain either. See how the light doesn't know what pain is. So pain is falling into the dream, the desire to experience pain in a dream. It's the signal. Your will alone can bring me happiness, and only yours exists. So we can ask the light that, infinite light. Is God's will the only will? Is experiencing pain out of alignment with God's will? We can ask the light that. Any twitch is outside of God's will. We can ask the light, is any twitch outside God's will? If I would have what only you can give, I must accept your will for me. It's just acceptance of God's will for perfect happiness. Jesus, is there a desire below my level of awareness not to experience perfect happiness? Am I trying to avoid supreme happiness in every which way to Sunday? And you can ask him, he's going to tell you yes. If you're not 100% happy without exception all the time, there's a desire to avoid it. Here's one. Okay, ask him. We can ask him this one. Do I derive pleasure in avoiding supreme happiness? Do I have the itch to avoid supreme happiness, like at all costs? Jesus, do I have the desire to avoid the atonement at all costs? That's humbling. He said yes. You can feel the smoke rising. It's like, oh my gosh, he's really right about this whole thing. Yet it's the seeing with him, and that's honesty of God. See, that's where we admit, oh, you're right. I don't want happiness under any circumstances. No, no, no. That's when you're just going through that direct gate. See, it's like, he's right. I don't want happiness. No. And then you sit with that itch with him. I was asking him, so can we just sit with him, the itch to deny supreme happiness? Yep. He took me there. The dust bunnies of consciousness. We were laughing about that. He's clearing out the dust bunnies. The chaff, or the little dust bunnies. You know, those little things. I don't know if those translate to Spanish. I don't know if Spanish has dust bunnies. But those are those little, when you're sweeping under your bed and you get those little, whatever they are, it's the little fuzzies. Jesus has helped us clear out under the bed all those things that are to see that they're nothing. They can be swept away through divine power that already exists. I would have what only you can give. This will put you on the floor. This puts me on the floor, right? So much fun. I would have only what you would give, everything. See that the light, does the light give us everything? And let Jesus whisper that one in your ear. And he says, would you trade this for nothing? That little nothingness, as he says in a new covenant, that little fiefdom of nothingness. And do you really want all those dust bunnies under the bed? Below the level of awareness that deny supreme happiness. This group isn't for anything other than supreme, #supreme happiness. That's our function. Jesus, in the light of divine being, is my only function, supreme happiness. And hear him tell you with all the joy of heaven. Jesus is looking directly at you, desires the means given now for me to see where I'm denying the Father's will is mine. Jesus, can I go to the Joker movie with you and you show me my innocence? Perfect innocence. That the world is innocent. It says, if you have the willingness to lay this in my hands, and accept the power to honor yourself as you are, infinite light. He says, you'll have no challenge with this movie. Take Jesus in there, buy him popcorn, get some, share it with them. Okay, so you can be reminded, if you have a mighty, go with the mighty, so you can join after. Okay, you'll get so happy just looking at desires, those desires with him. Like you say, your eyeballs will open in the morning. Okay, Jesus, that's the happy learner. The eyeballs pop open. Okay. It gets so, there'll be times like, that you just, you want to be in the play, that kind of thing. We all know, but just plays, but just see it. Okay. He's not wagging his finger. Look what you did. See whose voice that is. It's like Ramana Maharshi. Come over here with me into the barn. Quit frolicking over there in the weed patch. Come over here. Okay. If I would have what only you can give, I must accept your will. That's it. Ta-da, let's ask him. Jesus, is the atonement merely accepting your will, God's will? Ask him. Ta-da, you're done. All is forgiven. But because the addiction, the pleasure and the pain, the addiction to pleasure and pain, and pretending like pleasure and pain are different. Ask the light. In the light of divine being, is pleasure and pain different? If I would have what only you can give, I must accept your will for me. Just feel any tension. Let's see, Jesus, is there any tension that comes up when I think the thought arises accepting God's will for me? And then see your desire for an experience of avoiding God's will. Okay, Jesus, I'm going over to see any avoidance. Stay with the desire to avoid God's will. And ask for a miracle for the desire. Jesus, can I ask for a miracle for the desire to deny God's will? He says, look with me deeply at that, because you don't want a miracle right now. See, miracles are ours freely for the asking, billions of miracles, because we are the miracle. But we can't, the Spirit doesn't intervene where we don't open and we're ready for a miracle, because deep in the subconscious mind is no, no, no to a miracle. The ego will pretend it wants miracles, but it doesn't. Its whole function is to say no to miracles. That's why he has to control what miracles are, because of the desire to deny the miracle. So we just ask him, okay, show me when I'm ready. Show me what's under there that would deny miracles that are natural. So he'll take you under and look under the hood and point out all the places where the oil needs to be changed and the spark plugs are, that's all it is. It's a tune-up. It's a spiritual tune-up. Yeah. You know that we're fighting against having the oil changed. I mean, it's really that's it. He's gonna put some fresh power in that engine. All the power of God. How about being driven by that engine? I must accept your will for me and enter into peace where conflict is impossible. So let's go to where we know conflict is impossible. Does the light know conflict? See, going to the movie Joker and being in pain is the desire for conflict, self-conflict. See, the light doesn't know what conflict is. That movie Joker is holy. I can unequivocally. I don't know how that came about in consciousness. That's for the wake up. It's stunning. You'll see when the stunning beauty of it, how the Christ wants to crucify himself, but it's impossible. Even the Christ recognizes in the end that's impossible. Your Son is one with you in being and in will. It is not the will of the Father for you to go to that movie and suffer. See that it's not the will of the Father. So if you're in the movie and suffering, it's against the Father's will. The Father's will is for you to be able to, us to watch these plays in consciousness with the light and have it retranslated on the fly. Completely retranslated to God's holy perfection. And to see the purity and the innocence in whatever's appearing before us. And when he gives the assignments, again, to stand in with him and know that you'll be carried. You could very well go, we talk about mystical experience, and that's just the falling in the way of the untrue. You could definitely be in that movie and go mystical. Not go mystical, you are mystical, but in the play of consciousness, the falling away of the untrue. And it's almost, it just blows out the wrong mind, because it's just like so much for the wrong mind. It's trying to tell stories. It's trying to dance around. Oh my God, I don't want to see this. What happened to these people? How can this happen? This is cruel. He's being mistreated. And then finally, it's like, wait a minute, none of that's real. We transcend the storyline of something happening to a someone. And to see the addiction to being in the storyline, the Joker line. To see the mask, see the Joker's mask. They were all wearing a mask of death. So that when we walk out of the space shuttle, we walk out to the happy dream, which is to see no error. Just checking the light. And the light of divine being, does the light see a challenge with Joker? Is the light intimidated by the Joker movie? Jesus is saying that movie's given in service to the whole. To see that under every circumstance, you are supreme happiness. Unless you decide not to be supreme happiness and play in consciousness. He says it's given for the transcendence of consciousness. It'll be rich. Jump and join. Okay, Jesus, we're in. Your Son is one with you in being and in will, and nothing contradicts the holy truth that I remain as you created me. See, this is standing into it. Use the lesson too. You got the lesson, whatever day you go. Conflicting wishes cannot be my will. It's a nonstop every time it comes up. It's really that light training. Stay with the light. Use the lesson. Every unceasing lesson. That's what these thoughts of God's are for. Every lesson. And with this prayer, we enter silently into a state where conflict cannot come. So it's like the mind can't conceive of watching a movie like with Joker without conflict, because it miscreated the conflict. The idea that a movie like that can disturb the mind, or you can hear the mind play going on right now around that movie. This could cause another Columbine. Now, Columbine was this school shooting in the US. There's no causality. Jesus, does one thing cause another? Does this movie cause anything? He says, see that nothing's happening. Your only point is going with me to see that you can stand into all this nonsensical play of the story and just finally get, oh, that's ridiculous. That's not even real. Not to push it away as being ridiculous, but to truly see that life is unchanged by what's moving before it. On the play on the screen of the light. And he's reminding me about, and Ramana said this too, and you'll hear teachers talk about this. It's like the screen of the movie theater arguing with the characters in the movie. It's like the screen in the movie theater arguing with the Joker. No, you're not doing it right. That's how futile it is. The screen in the movie theater, you're just a screen. You're not impacted by the movie unless you have a desire for an experience to be impacted. Then you're going to feel it. So then that's why he says, stay with me at desire. And stay joined with your brother with whatever's coming up. Okay, good. That's something. Get it. If you have like the happy learner thing, oh, there's something I can look at. There's something I can look at. It will have a whole different meaning. And with this prayer, we enter silently into a state where conflict cannot come. Conflict free. See that the light's conflict free. In the light, no conflict appears. Because we join our holy will with God's in recognition that they're the same. and that our will is the will of our brother, the same will. Amen. Love you.